We got another tech guru in the contracting world today on this episode of the Rivian Operating System podcast. We got the founder, the CEO of HeyPros. I mean, hey, when I first got connected with you guys via Michael Gogan, man, I was on your website. I was really impressed with the interface, the design. It's a very modern feel in terms of a lot of the contracting software out there, man. So,
hmm
was this a big mission of yours? I mean, what's your background? So you used to actually run a painting company, right? And was there like an issue that you saw in the marketplace that you were trying to solve? Like, why did you decide to tackle on something this big? We know how it is making your own software. It ain't easy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'm excited to be on here, Nick. And yeah, to answer your question, it was definitely a passion of mine. I've shared the story before with a lot of people in the industry, but it was really my dad that kind of got me into the construction space. He's been a painting contractor my whole entire life, and so for me, getting into the trades was kind of inevitable, even though I was trying
Mm-hmm.
so hard not to get into them. And yeah, that's
Seems
that's
about
kind of
right.
how my background started, is running a painting company. I started painting houses with him when I was like 16, but then pretty quickly at the age of 18 decided to start a little painting business, and that's how I got started. And the dream came from like looking at how labor was mismanaged, looking at especially immigrants who had a hard time getting jobs, right? They would always be subcontracted out for companies, and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of didn't have a appropriate way to get jobs from those painting companies or roofing or flooring or whatever industry, right? Majority of
Mm-hmm.
our labor force is immigrants in this country, and they they want to do a good job, but oftentimes they can't have a way of finding that work. And so kind of that's where the original idea of HeyPros was born. And obviously right now we're not like a marketplace of subcontractors, although we are toying with that idea. But yeah, that's how
That's
it got started.
interesting. Because I feel like that's a major problem right there. And I wanted to go back in the backstory in a little bit here about the painting company and what you learned there for
hmm
sure. But I mean, that's a pretty big problem, right? I can't find any work, right? We can't find any good subs, right? I mean,
hmm
that could be an interesting solution too. So would that be something that's almost like a piece or a branch off of what you guys are currently doing? Because I feel like that's
Yeah.
a pretty big problem.
Yeah, so originally the idea was to tackle that problem head on and actually help companies find great subcontractors. But we ran into this issue when we tried to do it as our kind of first idea 4 years ago. It was, hey, we don't really have any users yet. We don't really have any companies that want to use us. We don't have any software to help them do any of their workflows, and we're just going to be these heroes trying to connect subs to companies. And it didn't really work out. There was not a lot of meat
Mm-hmm.
on the bone there. And so we went the route of actually building a SaaS that was focused around subcontractor management. So, like tracking compliance docs, dispatching work orders, getting subs to bid on work, doing automations, checklists, just the whole entire ecosystem of software around it. And we
Mm-hmm.
built it for our own company internally first. And now 4 years later, we finally launched a little thing on our website called Subs Looking for Work. And right now, it's very basic. It's mainly just our clients are posting like hiring applications. So think like ZipRecruiter or Indeed, right? Like it's a job board. You say, hey, we're so and so company based out of Virginia. We're hiring painting contractors. Come apply for us, and subs can go in and apply there. But the kind of idea, the V2 that we're going for, hopefully this year, is to actually be able to have like a public network where the subs don't just apply to work with a company; they apply to work with us, and then you can post your jobs to that public pool of subs that can then bid against each other, kind of give you offers, and then you can grab them from that pool and invite them into your own private HeyPros account. So that's
I
the
like
direction we're
that.
going in. Yeah.
I like it because I feel like just obviously finding subs, but then like what you guys were doing, the whole concept of the management of subcontractors. It's just kind of funny sometimes where I feel like with these software and maybe just the way we go about things in business, it's almost like we act like these subs aren't part of our organization or our team, but they're the ones doing the labor, right? So they're
hmm
pretty essential. So including them in their system, right? Where it's CRM, whatever tool, right? To make
Hmm.
sure that they're on the same page. Now, before we go too deep into that, though, because I want to go deeper into that. I mean, so how old were you when you started your own painting company or became part owner of it with your dad or whatever the case was? And
Hmm.
like, is that where you kind of learned about the subcontractor labor issue a little bit, basically, and it sprung this idea?
So kind of. I started my painting company at 18, and then it was primarily just me going out and doing sales and marketing, and then just subbing it out to a couple of painters here and there. I wasn't really trying to grow big. It was more just two, three, four painters that I was using. But really, my experience with subcontractors started when I was working at a flooring store, and kind of learning about how subcontracting works on a bigger kind of team where you actually
Mm-hmm.
have millions of dollars of revenue and a lot of different jobs. And then I guess what ended up happening is just working in that niche, in that industry, I got exposed to a lot of bad subcontractors and a lot of great subcontractors, and I got to see the differences between how did project managers cultivate relationships with the great ones, and how did project managers get screwed over by the bad subs, and what did ultimately the project manager do wrong to get that bad sub to be a bad sub. Because yes, there are some guys that are just bad subcontractors, but the majority of cases that I found is it's really a misalignment of expectations, and contractors are rough around the edges. All of them are. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're all very rough around the edges, and unless you know how to set expectations with them correctly, unless you know how to talk to them, motivate them, keep them excited, and actually get them to give a crap about what you're giving them, it's very much possible to turn a rough around the edges sub that doesn't want to try into one of your best performing contractors that actually cares, goes the extra mile, and feels appreciated. So that's I kind of started seeing that as time went on until we decided to launch HeyPros.
So do you think it's basically kind of just that same foundational model of, hey, you treat your subs good, like a human being. They're rough around the edges, so maybe you're a little rough around the edges with them, right? Give them a little trash, but you take care of them, right? You make sure that
Mhm.
they feel like they matter, just like somebody on the team, basically, and that's how you're able to retain those subcontractors. Because like I said, it is a big issue. People, I hear it all the time. Oh man, we need to get more subs.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I actually have a free guide on our website called Finding, Vetting, and Keeping Great Subs.
Let's
It's
throw
on
that in there.
heypros.com. Yeah, so anybody that's actually interested can go and download our free guide where I talk about that. In the second business that we started, actually we kind of built HeyPros for this business. It's called Homesy, and it's a flooring, painting, roofing, siding company that we launched here in 2021 for the Portland and Seattle market. We scaled that business. I think on track to over, if I'm not mistaken, 15 million in revenue this year.
That's a
And
really
so
good
that
size
business
painting
that
company
business,
too.
yeah. I mean, multiple trades, yes, but they
Oh
do
yeah.
multiple. I think at this point, using a few hundred different subcontractors across those two markets,
Wow.
and essentially that guide that I put together kind of talks about how those subs were found, and how we work with those subs, what we do, and it all boils down to a few things. It's when you find them, you can find them a lot of different ways, through a recommendation, knocking on a van at a parking lot, finding them on Facebook groups, whatever. It doesn't matter how you find them, but when you're actually vetting them, there's a couple of non-negotiables, right? You have to sit down with them or talk to them face to face, and you have to actually lay out certain expectations that are going to be non-negotiable for your company from the very beginning. And I think a lot of companies fail to do that. They'll collect the insurance documents, the business license, they'll sign a master subcontractor agreement, but they won't actually sit their subs down and say, hey, here are the kind of things that we as a company stand for, right? It's like when you're hiring an employee. It's very important to show
Hmm.
them your company's core values, and here's what we stand for. Same thing with a sub. You kind of have to explain to them, hey, if you're doing all commercial work, you have certain set of expectations there. But if we're a company that does all residential work in middle to upper class neighborhoods, we want to let our subs know that, hey, we are working with this clientele. It's very important for us that you act this way in front of our clients. This is our non-negotiables. We want you to do X, Y, and Z. And some people say, well, hey, that's illegal. You can't tell subcontractors what to do. Sure, you can't treat them like employees, but you can put that in a contract. You can put it in the job rules and say, hey, if you're working with us, these are the items that are going to be part of that contract. As long as you put it in that contract and tell them these are the things that are expected, you can hold them to that. Now, I always say, don't go crazy. Don't include so many things in there that the sub doesn't want to work with you, right? You can continue introducing things down the road as your relationship grows, but there's a few non-negotiables you always have to have with them. And if you start the project on the right foot and say, this is what we expect and this is what you're going to get out of it, you kind of don't have a misalignment to begin with. And then when projects move forward, you have to. This is the second thing I always tell everyone. You have to reward your subs. It doesn't have to be financially. You can just give them a pat on the back. You can say, hey, the customer said X, Y, and Z about your work. The customer said they loved how you guys came on time. The customer said you did this correctly. What I found is when I was a project manager, it was so difficult to communicate bad news to a sub. And the reason why it was so difficult is because, hey, they do 10 jobs for me. I tell them nothing on 9 jobs that went okay or well. And then on the one that they did something bad on, I'm bringing it up and they go, yo, I went the extra mile on 9 out of 10 jobs. You didn't say anything. Nobody complimented me on that. And then you're going to make a big deal about this one thing. Now,
So
it's
true.
okay to make a big deal about that, but did you say they did a good job on the other 9? Like they need to hear that feedback from you. They need to feel like it's a two-way street. It's a relationship. It's not just go do this for me and I don't care for you.
Why do you think that that's even happened? I mean, I feel like, as long as I've been in the trades, it's like subs they're just this like extension that no one really gives the credit to or builds out the processes for or interviews and onboards properly and makes them feel like they're part of it, right? It's just like a vendor that you take for granted. Why do you think that is? I mean, and how big of an impact negatively can it have on a company?
That's a really good question. I mean, off the top of my head, I don't have like one answer to that. I would say
Yeah.
it's probably a combination of things. I think it comes down to people's characters.
Yeah.
Certain businesses and certain project managers are soft, and they'll not want to kind of lay out the expectations with the sub because they're too soft. And on the vice versa, there might be project managers that are way too strict and think, hey,
Hmm.
my way or the highway. And so it's really just a people issue. And when a lot of companies or when a lot of project managers say, hey, I can only work with these 2 or 3 guys, and I've seen this so many times when we work with some of our clients. We'll have a company come to us and they have 3 project managers, and those 3 project managers have their favorite 2 or 3 guys, and each project manager has their favorite few guys. And it's like, well, why is that they have their little pool and they can't work with anybody else? It's just they happen to have a mesh in characters and a mesh in a relationship with those few
Hmm.
guys, and they can't work with anybody else. And what that does is it prevents the company from growing, right? You can only grow as much as your little pool of project managers can do work for you. And so if the sales team goes and sells more jobs, you're kind of limited to the subs you're already working with, and you're prevented from scaling. So if you can have a system where you can repeat the hiring, onboarding, and utilizing of subs over and over and over again across any project manager, that's where you can get your company to scale. So I believe it's being able to take that human thing and, yes, coach them on the human part of it, but then put systems in place that kind of set boundaries for project managers and subs to where they kind of work the same way with every single sub and create a predictable system of how to tell who is good, who's not.
That's the goal, right? A predictable system. And I mean,
Hmm.
speaking of which, of a predictable system, I do, tech implementation, process refinement, right? All that good stuff. And one area that, not a lot of clients, are we're doing the best job at was actually having something in place, some kind of SOP, some kind of process, tasks, communication, whatever it might be, right? For
Hmm.
their subs. Even though these subcontractors are the ones who are determining if this job goes well or not, right?
Hmm.
So, I mean, do you want to give some tips on what that looks like? Good communication, organization, making sure that these projects are getting done well and
Yeah,
efficiently?
yeah. I mean, a couple of things. A couple of things that are not even so much tech related. Like, yes, we do these features we have these features in HeyPros, but you can try to do these things manually, and it'll make a big difference for you already. Is when we were starting out, we created a system for our project managers on how they had to treat the first kind of few jobs with a sub, and then the jobs moving forward, right? The vetting process, we always had the same exact list of questions for the subcontractors during their vetting interview. Um, a lot of companies stick to this where they're hiring employees. They'll have the same set of 10 questions that they'll ask every single employee during the vetting or interview process. And the reason why they do that same set of questions in the same order is because when you start doing enough of these, you start noticing the differences in character and the people that you like working with and the people you don't. So I always recommend implement that with your subs as well, right? Same list of questions, same order. Always go through it, and then you're going to be able to tell after the first 5 to 10 interviews with subs, like, oh, hey, this guy really stands out and this guy before really stood out, and they're very similar. So all of a sudden, out of 5, 10 interviews, you know who the good guys are to move forward with. That's like the first thing. And then the second thing is always setting those processes for the project manager, right? What I mean by that, setting a mandatory check-in 48 hours before the job is supposed to start, right? This is a mandatory thing. Every single job, we have to reach out 48 hours in advance. There's tons of systems out there where you can schedule these messages. You could utilize HeyPros and do automated reminders on that work order. But yes, a mandatory check-in at the starting time of the job. So 9 a.m., mandatory check-in. And then at the end of day one, mandatory progress photo check-in. Day number 2, mandatory progress photo. Day 2, check-in, right? Mandatory check-ins, that is kind of like this predictable system to where you have checks and balances for the PM and the sub, so that they know that this is going to be happening. They know that this is the expectation. And then it's very easy to tell within the first 2 jobs, it's very easy to tell this guy's not cooperating, this guy doesn't want to work with us, or this guy's already late or not doing what we're asking him to do, right? So it's just a
Hmm.
couple small things. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. You could just do a couple of tiny things.
It's crazy because I think out of all the things I've done, I feel like honestly what I'm doing now with the process refinement and the tech implementation can be like one of the most complicated, but it's interesting because it should be like the most simplistic almost, right? Because it's really just making it so mundane, right? Just make it so rinse and repeat and so boring, right? Where it just gets the same result that you want time and in time again. You
Hmm.
know, so one thing that kind of stood out, and I want to go into a little bit about Hey Pros, right? Because um, for anybody out there who's interested in looking into a new software, and you can kind of talk about who might be the best fit for you guys or who might be really eyeing this up. And there's a free trial too. But for me, I like honestly, I liked the interface. I like how there's different colors. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the colors and the designs, I mean, it looks good on mobile, and it looks good on the computer. Just really clean. I mean, it looks like you can just do basically the entire process now at this point. For your contracting business, right? I mean, it looks pretty cool. Is there anything that like has really stood out to your customers that maybe the people out there listening might want to know about? Where hey, this is a good fit for you, and this is what they love about it.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of our goal is to help smaller to mid-sized businesses. And really, HeyPros was built for GCs, roofing companies, painting companies, flooring companies. So we work with single service home service companies as well as general contractors and some home builders. But really our sweet zone is if you're doing like 700K a year and up, and maybe up to the $5 million mark, you're really in that prime spot to switch to a system that can scale with you. And so the beautiful thing about HeyPros is we have multiple customers using us that are 10, 20 times bigger than that, right? In the 25 to 50 to $100 million revenue range. But really our sweet zone is these customers that are right around that sub 1 million to 5 million. And what we offer is now kind of an all-in-one tool, all-in-one project management tool with a built-in CRM. But our focus isn't so much that CRM, it's more the project management and fulfillment, right? So the goal is we want to simplify project management and automation and scaling for these businesses, because the number one issue that I hear time and time again from a business owner that's right at that $1 million mark is it's really difficult for me to go from that 1 to 2 to $5 million mark, because I can go get the sales. Like I can crank up some marketing. I have a ton of referrals. I can go get the sales, but then I don't have the back office team to handle those new projects. I don't have the labor available to take them on. I don't have systems in place. I don't have automations in place to actually take me there. And then they start doing the calculations and they go, usually a business at that $1 million mark will be using a either they'll be doing their own accounting, which majority of them are, or they'll be using like a part-time bookkeeper, and they're thinking to themselves, okay, now I'm going to have to be hiring a full-time bookkeeper if I scale, and that's that expense. Then I'm thinking, okay, I need an office admin that's going to be managing my compliance documents for all of these subs. Who's going to be going out and finding them? Okay, shoot, now I need project managers. How many projects can a project manager really manage doing it right now? Or how many can I manage myself? And so they start going through the numbers and they're like, okay, well, if I want to scale, my overhead cost is going to grow by 10, 15, $20,000 a month before I see a profit. That's not really going to work for me. And so a lot of these businesses are kind of stuck in that stage. And what we're really working hard at HeyPros is to build the suite of tools that help that business that's stuck, like that solopreneur, right? That guy that's doing well for himself, but just can't grow, because if he wants to grow, that's another year or two of hard work, getting taking less profit home because you're hiring a ton of staff, then hoping that you can break even on those staff expenses. And so really what HeyPros is doing is trying to extend that period of time that you can operate by yourself. We have multiple customers using HeyPros that are still like a solopreneur, or one guy with one person helping him, like an admin or PM, that are turning $3 to $4 million a year revenue numbers in the painting and roofing space, right? Like these guys that are hyper effective, and the reason why they're able to do that is because HeyPros will do the recruiting of new subs for them. HeyPros will have automations on the work orders so that they don't have to remember to message a bunch of subs asking them if they're going to be there. We have automated invoicing. We have a lot of integrations that send to QuickBooks, so cutting bookkeeping time. And then we have a ton of processes on managing subcontractor compliance and then actual project labor cost, right? So we have Gantt charts and project labor and material cost tracking. So there's so many things that are built in that kind of allow our customers to have a pre-built system that they can scale with and not have to hire a ton of overhead staff to get to that $2 million or $3 million mark.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, we'll go deeper into this. I mean, you guys have a pretty big build out, pretty robust build out at this point. You know, you mentioned the workflows for work orders and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool, right? Because we're managing the pipeline of the project, right? But when we're looking at the work orders and stuff like that, who knows if people are paying attention to that, or things like compliance. I mean, um, all that kind of stuff, communication. So it looks like there's SMS and everything in there, dispatching, right? Recruiting. I mean, estimates. You kind of need billing, reviews. So, are you? Do you guys kind of have the potential too then to be kind of a full enterprise system? And if so, is there tools like I saw you had Zapier, QuickBooks integrated? Are people integrating tools like that pretty often?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your first question, I in the beginning we did not want to become an all-in-one enterprise tool. We were kind of shying away from that. We wanted to be very niche and focus on subcontractor management. And so the first few years we hyper focused on just labor management, and we got really good at it. But what we found is the customers that love us the most are these $1 to $5 million companies, and they really wanted us to get into full project management Gantt charts, workflow schedules, and estimating as well. So like kind of an all-in-one system. And so we kind of looked at the situation and said, okay, we're going to give our customers what they want, and so that's the direction we've been building in. We will continue to expand in that direction, but our primary focus will always be helping the small guys scale. There's a lot of companies out there, bigger project management solutions that charge 5 times more than we do, 10 times more than we do, and are meant for massive teams. Our kind of goal is not that. Our goal is helping the small businesses scale to that level. Um, and so that was your first question. Your second question was
Integrations.
spacing. Oh, integrations.
Mm.
Yes. So integrations are surprisingly very hard to build. So the direction we went is going through Zapier, and so our Zapier integration is pretty robust, and we're always adding more endpoints that we connect through there. So with Zapier, we have a lot of articles on how to connect to QuickBooks, how to grab converted estimates or things like that from your existing CRM if you don't want to switch, and feed them into HeyPros. So for our customers that want to keep their existing estimating tools in their CRM, they can just configure a really easy integration via Zapier and send those signed estimates into HeyPros as work orders, and then they can use HeyPros for the labor management. And we do have sort of an open API that it's open, but we don't necessarily have the full
Ah,
documentation for it.
it's open, just not promoted super hard, but it's open,
Yeah.
baby. I'm a big believer in open. Obviously, if I'm the guy that's coming in to build something out,
Hmm.
I want to be able to take anything that they can kind of think of at a visionary standpoint, even if I have to custom do it to make it possible. And if it's open, the sky's kind of the limit. How was building out that QuickBooks integration? Because I'll tell you that seems to be the biggest issue of all
Hmm.
all there's always something going on there.
Yeah, QuickBooks is not an easy one to deal with, but luckily for us, majority of the functionality that we need to support is just being able to find a vendor or create a vendor in
Yeah.
QuickBooks and sending that bill in there. So we do that seamlessly. I mean, we have guides on our website, but the process, if someone can't get it themselves, they can hop on a call with us and we'll help them set it up within a couple of minutes. And then every time a sub finishes a job, he hits invoice, you review it and approve it, and as soon as you approve it, it's there in your QuickBooks sitting as a bill attached to the appropriate vendor. And people don't people don't fully understand how much time that just saves transferring that info over and not having to double verify or having your bookkeeper have to call you and double verify it.
Well, I mean, anything that you can do to remove manual entry, duplicate entry, human errors, all that kind of stuff. It's crazy the amount of time it can save, though. But I mean, I'm
Hmm.
gonna say this one more time. I mean, for me, I'm a techie, right? I'll go in, I'll download 50 softwares in a night when I get bored, right? And I can kind of tell pretty quickly if it's gonna be easy to get around and stuff like that. I love the interface, right? I love your guys' design. I mean, the color coding of the pipelines or of the tags and different things like that. I mean, the review system for the subcontractors, right? Looking like a Google review over here, the Gantt charts. You kind of name it. It's very, very clean. So if you guys are interested in checking out a free trial, right, go to heypros.com and check them out. I think the biggest thing that I love to see too is someone where you got an issue or you have a situation with your company and you build it to solve it, right? So that's the best way to build out the right features, right? It's basically like talking to your customers, you're building it for them. And
Hmm.
so I absolutely love that, man. Now, I wanted to kind of just, as we kind of start to close it up, what I'll do is I'll ask one more question and then I'll let you close us out. So you could leave us with a quote, a life lesson, a business lesson, a book, whatever you want to leave us out with. But, you guys, I know you said it was multiple trades, right? But it seems like you're not as involved, right? I think you still have a little bit of ownership in it. I'm not, you can tell me what the real situation is if I mess it up. But you were able to kind of step out, going into another venture, right? You were able to kind of build that out. What were some of the keys to building, a self-efficient, really robust painting company?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say that it's self-sufficient and super successful, but we all know that in the construction space that takes a lot of
Up and
years and
down,
time. So
up and down.
it's been a few years, and I'm really proud and happy with the growth that we've had in different areas, but it's always an uphill battle. So
Always.
all of the work
I'm
that
glad you
we're
said that too.
doing,
I appreciate when people are honest because that's how we learn.
and I mean, for the first 2 years of HeyPros, or even more, close to 3 years of HeyPros, it was attention was split 50-50, and that's
It
never
must have
the
been fun.
best thing. So I'm definitely grateful to be 100% focused on HeyPros today, and being able to do that. But having a 50-50 split focus and trying to build two different companies is quite difficult and not sustainable. So I don't recommend it to anyone. Um,
I don't know how you
but
did that.
that's
I
that.
can't handle a
Uh,
million to one.
yeah, but to leave you with some thoughts. I mean, thank you for complimenting our design. We definitely put a lot of work and effort into it, and our goal is to be the simplest, most efficient, easy to use solution. I think there's a lot of mediocre stuff out there, and unfortunately, a lot of softwares can build extensive features, cool stuff that has an all-in-one and does everything, but it breaks half the time. And I won't name names, but I've used some softwares that I can easily get it to bug out, and these are companies that are way older than us, right? That I can just get in there and get them to bug
And
out
they're
or
probably
error out
and they're
because
getting
they
a
don't
lot of
work.
money and funding too,
Yeah,
and it's still glitching out.
yeah. So we're working really hard on keeping our system simple, easy to use, and relatively bug free. Everyone has bugs, but we work really hard on on QA testing our software and making sure that it performs the way it does and doesn't break on people, and everything is self explanatory. But I wanted to leave on my favorite book, and I guess something that's motivated me a lot. I love the book called Mindset. I don't remember the author's name, but that book really formed a lot of a lot of my ventures and my thoughts. I read it probably 10, 12 years ago at this point, but just as I believe Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. And it's all
Hmm.
in the mindset. It's everything is in the mindset, and the sooner people, especially business owners, can get into the mindset that, hey, I'm gonna make this work. There's no other option. If I fail, it's okay. I'm gonna get back up and keep going. As soon as they get into that mindset, there's no stopping you. You can keep going and growing your whole entire life, and that's the kind of customers we look for at HeyPros.
Love it.
We want business owners that have a great mindset.
I'm all about that, right? I got why not tattooed on my arm, man. I'm all about it, right? Go after it, make it happen. As soon as it feels like it's impossible to hold on, you hold on and you get a major breakthrough, right? We think we have to be the smartest. We think we need all the strategy. We think we need, all these different bells and whistles. But it's going to start right up here, right? It's going to start with the mindset. So
Mhm.
that's going to set the tone, especially if you're a leader too, because now you're going to be setting the tone for the entire culture and rapport of the team, right? And I want to say, is it mindset, the psychology of success? Does that seem right?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's
We'll
what it's
go with
called.
that. Yeah, I love it, man. That's a great ending right there. But hey, guys, you guys need to make sure you're checking it out, right? If you're looking for a different software, something that's got all the bells and whistles, but it's still simple enough to use, it's got a clean interface, it's modern, can handle, the subcontractors, the entire project now at this point, right, for the right contractors. So make sure you're checking them out. Free trial, why not? HeyPros.com. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share with all your friends. We appreciate you out there. You guys remember, you're built to be better. Keep making plays. Go get it. Thank you, Dmitry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.